collagen back, and it's collagen, it's back, cause he's in college and he's back, he's in college and he's back, he does college and he's back, he does college and he's back, collagen back, and collagen back, and collagen back.
Welcome to the first College and Back podcast. Actually, it's not the first one. This technically is like the 6th or 7th one, but this is the first like official one for me, like this new series that I'm on at least, because we've had some in the past, but not like this. This is going to be a whole new level of content right here. I'm telling y'all, this is going to be a wild ride. You do not want to miss it. So if you have never heard of this channel before or podcast before, and you are a newcomer to this is the College and Back podcast. My name is Nick Stevens. I am the host. As y'all may or may not know, I have a YouTube channel. I actually have two. My one is called College and Back. I also share one with my other friend Nick, called N Squared Sports. If you want to go follow those two channels on YouTube, go for it. We talk about sports, of course, on the N Squared Sports, and my College and Back channel will actually have this video on it, or not video. I gotta stop saying video because this is not a video. This is actually a podcast. And I don't post. I've only posted like 5 or 6 podcasts and probably about 100 videos by now. It feels like probably not 100 videos. It's probably been like 50 videos on College and Back. But we posted over 100 on N Squared Sports, and you know, I think we have some pretty fire sports takes. I don't know about y'all watching this. If you've heard our sports takes, I think they're pretty good. They're pretty entertaining. We haven't posted together in a while. Actually, the last one we posted together, we were in a car, actually in my truck. So go watch that video. It was very good. We actually made a couple. But yeah, so that's not why we're here, though. I mean, this is not a sports show, even though we will talk about sports on the show. Don't get me wrong. This will be a sports show. Why? I'm just contradicting myself. I just said this won't be a sports show, but there will be sports. But that's not going to be the general direction, because it seems like I have about half of my friends that really like sports and then half that don't. And so depending on the episode, we're going to talk a lot about sports, or we might not. Actually, one of my first guests, we probably won't talk about sports at all, so that's going to be a little interesting. I get, a lot of times I get very close to talking about sports on my College and Back channel, and then I have to say, this isn't a sports channel. I can't talk about sports on this channel. So yeah. So for y'all who are new or new to this podcast in particular, if you've seen my YouTube videos and wanted to go check out my podcast, this will be a little different than all the videos, because the videos, of course, were video, not audio. But also because I will be having guests on this show. This podcast will not just be me. Of course, this podcast in particular that I'm making right now, well, it's just me. But my future ones will not. I will have a guest, and we will talk about a lot of stuff. It's going to vary. I mean, we can talk about things like school, politics. Hopefully not a whole lot about politics. We can talk about the great word of Jesus. I'm sure we will talk about the Bible with some of my guests. Some of my guests are very strong Christians, and so we'll probably talk a lot about the Bible and about God, which is awesome. We'll talk about sports, like I just said. We'll talk a little bit about that. We can talk about video games, about nature, about food. I don't know. I think food probably will be a popular topic as well. Or we could talk about whatever the other person's hobby is, because that's kind of why I wanted to do this form of podcast, because I like to hear what other people enjoy. I really want to get a kind of a good glance of what other people enjoy and like to do. I mean, I feel like, for me, I talk a lot about sports. As you can see, I think I've said the word sports about 50 times already. And it's only been 5 minutes of recording. Sorry. I didn't know podcasting is a lot. I'm just now 5 minutes in, and I'm already losing my breath. This might be a little bit of a challenge. I think doing a podcast by yourself, I can tell it's not going to be very easy, so that's why I need guests. I'm going to have a sip of my drink. Hold on just a second. This is not going to be an ASMR video or podcast, by the way. Back to what I was saying. I talk about sports a lot, and that's kind of my entire life, to be honest. I need to get out and do some other things other than sports. I mean, I do school, of course. School is a big part of my life at this point, just because, I'm getting into the thick of it in my junior year of college. School is a pretty big part. And just recently, I've been going to a lot of Bible studies more than I have in the past. So, between Bible study, sports, and school, not a lot else happens in my life. So, I think this will be a good way to kind of get a good feel for what other people like to do, what their hobbies are, and what their view on certain things are. Because, I have my views. My other friends and people that I have on the podcast, they'll have their view as well. And I think that is a good thing to get other people's point of view on things. I know my friends, if you haven't checked them out, the Bickle Bros, they haven't posted in a hot second when this has come out. Maybe in the next couple of weeks they will, because right now I'm pre-recording this a pretty good little bit in advance. So maybe by the time this comes out, they will have posted one. But they haven't posted a podcast in a little bit. But their old ones are straight fire. The last one that I've seen was the Fantasy Football podcast, which I was a big fan of. And they're just two guys that they just like to talk. And they both have their own opinions, obviously. And when I'm watching them, I'm like, hey, they have a really cool sense of like vibing off of each other. And one of their last podcasts was actually called Vibinate. And it's a really good vibe. And so I'm not trying to steal anything from them, but I want a good vibe too, When I was listening, I'm like, man, I need a good vibe. And I feel like, just making videos is not enough to have a vibe. You need other people to have a vibe with. So, yeah, I feel like I need my podcast where I can have guests on it too, where we can get a vibe going, Maybe you don't know. You will know pretty soon though when we have our first couple guests on this podcast. This podcast is gonna be whatever my guests make of it. I don't want to be the person to make this podcast. I want to be the person to post this podcast. I don't want to be the person to make the content of it. Of course, we're gonna have stuff we're gonna talk about, and we'll know ahead of time what we're gonna be talking about, but not all of it. To be honest with this one right now, I have not prepared jack. I have no idea what I'm going to say in my next sentence at all. Like, I really don't. But, I think that's part of the fun. If you hear that, that's a door opening. I'm technically... hold on just a second. There's somebody walking up my stairs. So, yeah, not preparing, it's not really in my DNA, but for this, I have not prepared anything. I guess the next thing I'll talk about is the fact that when this is coming out, I don't know how the world's going to be, which is kind of a weird situation to be in. The election is coming up when I'm recording this. The election has passed by probably 2 weeks when this is out. So I don't know how it ended up, which is kind of cool. It's kind of cool to record this before and then get to see what happens after. So I don't know what has happened in the world. I don't know if we even know who the president is. It would be kind of cool. It's gonna be cool to see who the president is. I think after I record this. But I do want to say, definitely don't be worried about it. I know it's hard because right now I think we're all worried. I feel like we all are kind of scared of what this country is becoming, just with the pandemic and how we're handling it. Some people say, we're handling it poorly. Some people say we're not. Some people say we're fine. But I just want to say that God has it in control. And I said this in one of my other videos about what I think about the election. God is in control of this country. He knows what he's doing. He's electing the person that he he knows will do the best job. And he's not going to let this country just fall apart. He definitely is in control. So I want people to know that. I know I've already talked about that, but I think that's a very important point, is that God is definitely in control. He knows what he's doing. And that's something that I think everyone can fall back on. That no matter who is in control, human-wise, God is in control overall. So that is something awesome that I think is a really good thing to have in your mind. Also, I want to say that happy finals week for all y'all that are going into finals week. I think when this comes pretty positive when this comes out, I will be going into finals week. It might be the week before. I can't remember exactly, but regardless, I hope everyone does well on their finals. I know that's something that you're probably like, why are you talking about school? Like, this is totally separate from school. Well, in reality, it is a big part of life. Like, taking tests are a big part of college life, and I know most of these people listening are in college. And so I just want to say that good luck on your finals. Hopefully you sleep well, study hard, and also have some time to relax. And I hope this is the way that you can relax by listening to this podcast. It'll be a great way to relax. There's a lot of bad things that you could be doing to relax, but I'm hoping that you're listening to this instead of doing those other bad things. I think the last thing I'll say before I leave, I know this is going to be a pretty short podcast. I think my regular ones will be a lot longer than this, but for this one, it's going to be a little shorter just because I don't really have a whole lot prepared. I just wanted to, break the season open to its start. This is going to be episode 1 of season 1 of College and Back. My other ones I'm just going to call them demo podcasts, I guess is what I'll call them. They were great. I did my first one, I think I did about 10 months ago. I'm going to look it up while I keep talking to you here. But yeah, my first one I did a while ago. It was actually with my dad and my brother. It's pretty amazing that it's been so long since I've started. Let me check real quick. Going back to my channel, man, I've had some interesting times on this channel. It was 7 months ago when I had my first one, and my first 3 of my first 4 videos were actually podcasts. My first one was with my dad. Actually, my first one was with my dad. Second one with my brother, and then my third one with my dad and my brother. My fourth one I had with my friend Nick. I think my fifth one was with Blake. And then my sixth one, I think, was... Yeah, my sixth one was with my brother, and then the seventh one was with the Bickle Bros. So, that is the extent of my podcast life. But this one, I will call that my demo season. That's what I'll call this. So, this officially is the first episode of the first season of the College and Back podcast. So I think that is pretty cool. It's a cool way to do it. I'll have to edit that on Spotify and Anchor. I think I've put all of those videos in season 1. I'll have to somehow make it to where this is season 1, episode 1 of College and Back podcast. But yeah, I hope everyone has had a great start to November. This is actually, it's crazy. Another thing, like the election is in a couple of days for me when I'm recording this, but it is going to be well past when this comes out, or well before this comes out, excuse me. And the other thing is, it's pretty funny that y'all will see this in November, and I'm actually recording this in October, so that's pretty weird to me that I'm recording this in a totally different month. But yeah, so hopefully y'all have had a great start to November. Hopefully I have too up to this point. But yeah, so hopefully y'all have had a great day as well. Hopefully y'all like this podcast. Let me know any critiques or anything you would want to do differently on this podcast. And also hit me up if you want to be on one. I will take anyone on this podcast. Nobody is excluded. I will definitely have my friends on. Don't worry about me getting people, because there will definitely be people to be on this with me. Excuse me. But if you want to be on it, if I don't usually talk to you or text you or communicate with you at all, and you want to be on it, you're like, hey, I think I could come up with a great topic, then hit me up. Don't ever be afraid to Instagram message me or text me. You can DM me on Instagram at College and Back. I will respond on that one, and also my main Instagram. The links to everything you'll need is in the description, as well as my social media, so don't be afraid to DM me. So yeah, I think that will do it for the first episode of Season 1 of the College and Back podcast. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. I will see you guys in the next one.